Winter 2021 is perhaps the craziest anime season in living memory, and The Promised Neverland Season 2 is easily its most controversial show. I know some folks were really pulling for a different one to take that crown, but I'm sorry, it's just hard to muster any strong feelings one way or another about a mid-hentai and edgecore fantasy cosplay that people are only watching so they can fight about it on the internet later. It is much more interesting to discuss the bold, some might say too bold, direction in which Cloverworks has taken Kaiju Shirai's dark fantasy coming-of-age survival game metaphysical political thriller manga in the second leg of its animated journey. If you're curious about exactly what has changed, Yazzie just put out a video over on Best Girl's Basement comparing the new season to the manga episode by episode and sharing her thoughts about how some of her favorite parts were handled. Spoilers, they are not the sort of thoughts that carry you into Neverland.
You took everything from me.
I don't even know who you are.
You will.
In this video, I'll be taking a more analytical, relatively optimistic look at the new season, trying to figure out where they might be going with all these changes, and if there are any potential positive trade-offs for all the great stuff that's already been left on the cutting room floor. But first, if you collect or customize Nendoroids, then you're going to want to hear about today's sponsor, Chibi Chop Shop. Personally, I love Nendos, in large part because nobody treats me like a dog murderer for taking them out of the package and putting them on display, and in larger part because they're a really fun creative outlet in their own right. Unfortunately, those aren't the only parts Nendo enthusiasts need to worry about, and all the other parts are very not large. No matter how careful you are, accidents happen. Tiny things get dropped, plastic wears down with time, and the only piece replacement scheme Good Smile offers is one spare neck joint in box, or the option to buy a whole new box should that not suffice. You run into the same problem if you want a specific accessory or piece of clothing or furniture to mix and match with your favorite figs, but not the character those things come with. Chibi Chop Shop, your one-stop shop for bits of better Funko Pops, is here to fix both problems. They split Nendoroids, and also Figmas and Cupoches, so you don't have to. With every piece in existence named and numbered in their online catalog, including parts they've never stocked before, they make it easy to track down whatever you're looking for, no matter how rare or obscure, and get notified when the most elusive pieces appear in the wild. Every part is guaranteed authentic, be it imported from Japan, bought direct from Good Smile, or sourced from collections of their users. So if you've got some spare Nendos lying around, they may even have some cash money for you. And even if you don't, Chibi Chop Shop has a great offer just for watching this video. 10% off one order of any size if you use the promo code INTHEBASEMENT at checkout anytime in 2021. That's in the basement, all one word. Click the link in the doobly-doo to start browsing their impressive inventory of parts and level up your collecting and customizing game today. I won't sugarcoat this. There's a high chance that The Promised Neverland Season 2 will go down as one of the greatest adaptation disasters in anime history. I mean, it wrong-warped past like 50 chapters worth of content in a single episode. That's hard to justify, and even harder to pull off without totally destroying the flow of the narrative, which they somehow haven't done, actually. Yeah, the pacing of the last few episodes has been all over the place and deeply unsatisfying, but by some miracle, the plot still makes logical sense, which is why I still have a slim hope that this anime may just be differently awesome from the manga. See, I don't think this anime adaptation is an adaptation at all, but rather a parallel timeline retelling in which various characters making different choices at key junctures both on and off screen results in an increasingly divergent plot from the manga.
I'm sorry, you're saying there's a multiverse?
Grace Fieldhouse, being a closed system by design, wasn't nearly as butterfly affected by whatever caused these changes as other parts of the world, which is why the first season's story was almost identical to the first manga arc, give or take some tiny discrepancies like Crone's creepy doll. Now that the kids are out, though, a lot more is changing, and fast. Now, maybe that's just the copium I've chosen to huff after the shock of losing Goldie Pond. They could very easily just be rushing and rewriting things for no good reason. But there sure are a lot of butterflies in both of the anime openings, plus rumors that Kaiju Shirai is the one pushing this rewrite of their own story, and background clues within the episodes themselves add a lot of credence to my theory. They sure have made a point of showing us a lot of dates between both seasons, all of which are years later than the dates in the manga. Actually, after I recorded this, I checked, and the dates shown in the diary during the montage at the bunker, January 21st to 23rd, 2047, are wrong? Sanju says it's 2046 when they meet him, and after the time skip, the anime shows Annie writing herb counts on January 24th, 2047, one day after the diary entries that were supposed to be over a year ago. Not the sort of animation error you want to see in a detail-oriented mystery like this.
It's just a little slimy. It's still good. It's still good.
Come on, Cloverworks, you're making it really hard to live in denial here. Still, even if I am right, that doesn't mean the fans are wrong to be mad about how this whole thing was handled. I, as an obsessively analytical lorehound, am low-key thrilled at the prospect of uncovering a whole new stratum of parallel reality secrets and mysteries to mine for answers in the depths of one of my favorite fantasy worlds. But also, I, as a massive Emma stan / Sakuga maniac, am high-key livid at the thought that I'll never see Ken Yamamoto's beautiful, kinetic interpretation of her heroic duel with a certain aristocratic poacher. And it just plain sucks that even if they do work him in later, a certain incredible character can never follow the same arc as he did in the manga. Beyond that, I can't even imagine how baffling this version of events must be for new viewers. Like, I understand the significance of the owls we hear hooting right before the kids reach the bunker, but to a virgin viewer who's not yet aware of the bird's bourgeoisie master, let alone his connection to the death squad that rolls up to the hideout one cliffhanger later, that sure is an abrupt and unsatisfying way to shake up the status quo we were just settling into, and to unceremoniously bury all of the questions that bunker raised before there was any chance to really answer them.
Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast, too fast, too fast, too fast, too fast.
And even if you do just accept that event as a product of a cruel and harsh world, no rationalization makes the build-up, timing, and execution of the reveal that Norman's still alive any more satisfying. That shit was weak, especially compared to the manga. I got excited about the implications of his crew being in that city at that time and connecting with the Gracefield kids much earlier in the planning and building of the things they go on to plan and build, but I'm sure that's cold comfort to anyone who put in the spoiler-dodging work to experience surprises like this in motion with sound alongside the online anime audience. That experience, and indeed any enjoyment of this twist as a twist, has now effectively been stolen from them forever. Sure, they can always read the manga, but they can't untwist the knowledge that Norman's out there somewhere, hanging with the new crew, from how they interpret the build-up to his reintroduction. It's inevitably gonna hit different. And again, there's a part of me that's really excited about what I think they're trying to do here, but I don't know if it'll be worth that trade-off. I only care enough about the series' deep lore mysteries to be interested in an Elseworld perspective on them because I grew very attached to how the manga developed these characters and revealed things about them and their world, leaving me wanting more. The anime's taking a big gamble, to say the least, by changing how all that's delivered to a massive portion of its audience that's experiencing this story for the first time. How do you expect people to start obsessing over all your subtle background details if what happens in the foreground only leaves them feeling confused and disappointed? Well, if the very unscientific community tab poll that I just ran is any indication, that's not as much of a problem as I imagined it would be. A 3-to-1 ratio of new viewers say they're enjoying the season, or at least don't hate it. I definitely could have phrased the answers better. Although at the same time, several highly upvoted comments do express disappointment, confusion, and a sense that the pacing is off in some way. Either way, though, I'm glad to see the majority of Anime First fans seem to still be having fun here, but it's not just them we have to worry about. A lot of manga fans have spent years looking forward to seeing their favorite parts of the manga animated and are so upset to learn they're not coming that they're not really interested in clue hunting anymore. I don't blame anyone who was busy angrily wondering where the Hiffle Mister was for not looking more closely at the note he left in the 1 second it's on screen. That's something you kinda gotta go back and double check for if you're not watching with your finger on the pause button, waiting to collect lore like it's a pickup in a video game. And why would anyone want to rewatch a clip that just ripped their still beating fangirl heart directly out of their chest? Speaking as someone who loves it when artists go Yoko Taro violently against the grain and respects the hell out of Kaiju Shirai as a world builder, mystery artisan, revolutionary thinker, and child psychologist, I'd say there have been some objectively bad decisions made in the experience design of this anime season that threaten to render its ambitious experimentation with the art of adaptation completely irrelevant to most of its most passionate fans. Because no matter how rad its end goal is, its midsection is effectively mocking us for getting overly excited about what we were led to believe it would be. Extremely vocal anime fans are not a people who take kindly to change or new ideas, even when you ease them into it. They're still mad about CGI. To be blunt, they needed to advertise what they were doing in a significant and unambiguous way far ahead of the season's premiere. I know that's antithetical to the Promised Neverland's whole vibe. The series is all about dropping vague hints you have to work to piece together and then walloping you with big surprises out of nowhere. And personally, I kind of enjoyed being surprised by this. But I'm a weird guy, and breaking step with basically every anime adaptation in history, except for a few that lots of people are still mad about, is the sort of thing that you really want to give folks some time to warm up to. I speak from very recent experience when I say it's hard to enjoy an anime on its own terms while you're busy thinking about the sudden, unexpected absence of someone you once called daddy. That's probably the worst joke I've ever written on several levels, and I know it would have made my dad proud. It's not like we can go back in time and change the show's marketing strategy, though. It's here now, and people are upset now. So instead of fixating on what could have been, I'd like to talk about what is and could still be, where the story could go from here, what the anime might offer that the manga lacks, and what the changes we've seen already might imply about the fates of people and places from the manga that we haven't seen yet. Obviously, if you're an anime-only fan, some of this manga-based speculation may spoil important plot points for you. Not plot points in the anime, obviously. We don't know what those will be yet. But if you take Yazzie's advice and read the manga, which you should because it's great, and now there's zero chance it'll ruin the anime for you, I don't want to ruin that for you. None of these are major spoilers, but consider yourselves warned. From here on out, manga-only characters will be named and shown, and some plot details from the Goldie Pond arc will be revealed. Since it's what shifted feelings toward this season from nervous pessimism to the fanbase is Sasuke and the anime is Itachi, we should probably start by answering the burning question of where the Hiffle Mister got to, which is actually pretty easy to answer. The note he left behind in his spooky cliffhanger room contains 2 lines worth of anime original info. I'm also going to head for the human world. To anyone who's reading this, don't give up. Now, if you've read the manga, you know that giving up is Mister's whole thing before he meets Emma, so that line represents a significant shift in his character that could radically alter the trajectory of his arc and the story surrounding him. If you've read the manga, you'll also know that there are exactly 2 locations with hidden doorways to the human world, and considering how Fort Noxian one of them is, if Mister's heading here, he's probably heading through Goldie Pond. A place that, if I'm reading the slightly altered writing on the wall correctly, this version of Mister doesn't yet know is a den of demon poachers, possibly because he never followed his friends there when they first got caught. That being the case, he may be there even now, struggling to survive alongside Lucas and the Resistance. Or, armed with knowledge of demon weak points from his encounters with man-eaters in the wild, he may have even facilitated their successful escape. That said, if he did escape on his own and the portal to the human world wasn't operational, he probably would have returned to the bunker, which leaves us with 2 more realistic possibilities as to how we might see him again. The first is in the future, at some point during this season, or more likely, the next one, if there is a next one after all the backlash. Emma's group may eventually go to Goldie Pond in search of its portal and get embroiled in the hunt at that point. The second is in a flashback, if they decide to show us what Norman's been up to in the time between his anticlimactic disappearance and anticlimactic reappearance. We know from the demons talking about farm bandits at the start of episode 5 that they've been busy liberating humans while searching for Emma and co. Adam's presence at Goldie Pond in the manga proves there's a connection between the experimental farm and Luvis's secret child murder safari, so Norman could have learned its location, and it is exactly the sort of thing he'd want to put a stop to if Emma didn't beat him to it. Interestingly, the alternate cover art of the manga's 9th volume depicts Norman standing alone in Goldie Pond in place of Emma and the Resistance fighters. As we demonstrated in our hard-hitting Phil expose, Shirai and Demizu enjoy hiding obscure clues on these inside covers, and some of them do seem to depict alternate realities. Although, if that is a piece of 4D chess foreshadowing for the anime, then the fact that Norman's alone there might indicate he arrives too late, which would be an even bigger bummer than Mister not showing up at all. Still, even if we never see him animated, there is more to look forward to in this new timeline, specifically what's been set up in episode 4 with the manager of Gracefield's offer to let Isabella hunt the children in exchange for her own freedom. The manga never really made good use of her after the first escape arc, and her appearances toward the end are just a bit too brief to have the impact she really deserves. Giving her a second run as central villain lets the series bring back the antagonistic dynamic that made the first arc so great in the first place, and gives the kids a chance to prove how far they've come since breaking out. Also, if they give Gracefield's management any amount of additional character development through their interactions with Isabella, that could go a long way toward making their role in the manga feel retroactively more substantial and satisfying as well. If the idea here is to make the anime, manga, and film equally essential parts of the Promised Neverland story as a whole, then plot premises like this, with the potential to show how these characters respond to wildly different circumstances, are, I think, the right way to go about that. Beyond that, having all the Gracefield kids square off against an army of demon hunters led by Isabella, as the OP seems to be promising, could potentially fix my one big gripe with Goldie Pond and subsequent arcs. Namely, that they kinda became Emma and Ray's adventure hour, effectively contradicting the first arc's core theme that all of the kids are equally important and skilled in their own way. This scenario could give all of them a chance to show their stuff and personally get back at their mom for her betrayal. And if the kids decide to raid Gracefield House before heading to Goldie Pond so they can bring the young'uns with them to the portal, we might even get more Phil, which would be the best thing. The fact that Norman and the Lambda kids will likely be involved in this chase too only makes its prospect more exciting. We could finally get to see a proper revenge match between the series' 2 greatest chess masters, Phil notwithstanding, and also get to watch Zazzy cut a lot of demons' heads off, which might even make up for the lack of a Sakuga-Luvis duel, although it would need to be really good. Speaking of Luvis, if he is still alive, he's definitely well connected enough to find out about Gracefield's hunting operation, and considering the lengths that he and his buddies go to for a chance to do it illegally, they'd probably jump at the chance to help out in a legal child hunt. This is probably the longest shot of any of my speculations so far, but if Cloverworks does see and make good on that narrative possibility, then we'll get to see the two most charismatic, intelligent villains in this series team up, which would be awesome. To be clear, I'm aware that most of the possibilities I've put forward are remote. At the end of the day, I'm just saying what I wish would happen based on what the available evidence suggests could happen. Maybe they've got an entirely different plan that's cooler than anything I could imagine. Or maybe the rest of the season will just be a series of mounting disappointments with no upsides to make up for what's been lost. I don't want to give anyone false hope here. The outlook for this season is pretty grim. But at the same time, I do want to give the author of one of my favorite manga and the creative team behind one of my all-time favorite anime seasons the benefit of the doubt. I don't think they'd take a course of action so obviously guaranteed to piss their fans off without some kind of plan, some galaxy-brained artistic ambition they thought was worth gambling the future of this entire franchise on. Maybe that's hope, maybe it's cope. Only time will tell. I'm Geoff Thew, professional shitbag, signing out from my mother's basement.